Thank you. Okay, good morning, everyone. This is the Board of Fire Commissioners special meeting, Tuesday, May 3rd, 2022, and the time is 9 a.m. Good morning to everyone who's under the sound of my voice, and I hope everyone is well. We're going to begin with the roll call, please. Lakeisha?
Yes. Woods Gray?
Here.
Babcock? Hara?
Here.
Ibarra?
Present.
Ninberg?
Here.
Fire Chief Crawley?
Here.
Deputy City Attorney Linda Nguyen?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Again, and we'll have the flag salute and a moment of silence by the chief.
Okay, thank you very much. So if you are able, please stand and put your hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic
for which it
for which it stands,
one
nation, under God,
indivisible,
with liberty
and justice for all.
for all.
Please remain standing for a moment of silence in honor of our past and present members of the Los Angeles Fire Department who devoted their lives to the protection of the community. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you, Chief. Okay, very good. The next item the first item on our agenda is Commissioner's comments.
Madam Chair, would you like me to read the reminders for the public?
Oh, yes. Would you read that, please?
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Persons may listen to this meeting live by dialing any of the telephone numbers listed on the cover of the agenda for this meeting. Should you dial one of these numbers, you will be able to listen to the meeting but will not be able to give public comment during the meeting. Anyone wishing to address the Board of Fire Commissioners on any item on the agenda or to provide general public comment should call 1-669-900-9128. When you are asked for a meeting ID, please enter 881-2091-3045, followed by the pound sign. Then press the pound sign again to continue. You will then be joined into the meeting. To alert the board that you want to give public comment, press *9. You will be called on by board staff who may refer to you using the last 3 digits of the number you are calling from. When unmuted by staff, press *6 and please state your name. As a general reminder, public comment will be limited to 1 minute per agenda item and up to 2 minutes allowed for agenda items. At the request of the speaker will be afforded an additional 1 minute for general public comment for a maximum of 3 minutes total per speaker. Time cannot be ceded to another speaker, and an individual may speak only once during the public comment period. Only those who are in the queue when the President begins the public comment section of the agenda will be allowed to speak. These instructions may also be found on the front page of the meeting agenda. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Gomez. Okay, now we'll go to Commissioner comments. First of all, I want to congratulate Chief Hogan, Armando Hogan, on becoming the Chief Deputy of Administrative Operations since our last meeting, and also on being the Firefighter of the Year. Congratulations, Chief Hogan. Well-deserved honors and promotions for both.
I
also want to
congratulate. I'm sorry. I just wanted to note that Commissioner Babcock has joined the meeting for record purposes.
Okay, very good. Good morning, Commissioner Babcock. Also, I want to congratulate the newly promoted firefighters. We have a number, which are really, that's great to see. And also the new class of firefighters who just graduated. We have a lot of action movement going on within our department. And that's all of that is really good to see that we are moving ahead in different ways. Also, this month, May, the month of May, has two celebrations and probably others that I am not aware of. But I'll have to close something here. Okay. But the ones that I am aware of, so this is Asian Pacific Islanders Awareness Month and Jewish American Heritage Month. So as we move through these months, we want to honor and highlight the diverse culture, heritage, and the contributions of both the Asian American Pacific Islanders and our Jewish community, LA being the very diverse community that it is. And we want to focus even more so in on our fire department and look to see where we stand with each of these groups as we examine the statistics for our hiring and our employees within the fire department. I know that we can stand to have many more Asian Pacific Islanders recruited. I remember a few years ago, as a matter of fact, we had a press conference in Koreatown trying to recruit. And it really was very interesting because the ideas of certain communities about the fire department, the misgivings were not true. So it was a good thing. We may need to do that. We should probably do that again. It was really a good turnout of the press and the media from the Asian Pacific Islander community. I think that may be all of the things that I wanted to highlight at this particular moment. And I hope that everyone had a great spring break and is ready to go through the summer. Are there other commissioner comments?
Yeah, this is Commissioner Hara.
Yeah, Commissioner Hara, good morning.
I had the pleasure of attending the recruit class 2021-3 graduation event.
Oh, good.
At Drill Tower 81. And it was a great event because it was live and so therefore family members were able to put the badge on the recruits, as opposed to the prior graduation where they put on their own badges. So
okay.
However,
good.
It was, they still didn't have any demonstrations of what they had learned.
Okay.
But nevertheless, the fact that the family and friends were able to attend and watch their badging, I think was great. And actually, in that event, I stood right next to the firefighter of the year, Armando Hogan, and then that very same day, I attended the luncheon honoring him, and as it turned out, because I was the only commissioner present at that event. I was asked to give some comments, and then I did mention all of the Hollywood Christmas parades that Commission President Woods Gray and I had the pleasure of attending with Chief Hogan, and likewise I talked about the memorable event for me actually was the Mandeville Canyon evacuation event that he put on, and so once again, and then of course all of his involvement when he was information officer, before he went to the West Bureau, I also commented on, and that event is always kind of nice because it features, we talk about all of the previous firefighters of the year, and many of them were in attendance, and as Chief Terrazas used to say, it's the Hall of Fame of the fire department, and a chance to honor those who have served the department so admirably. And so with that, in terms of AAPI month, this Saturday, actually, the AAPI commissioners, most of them on public works and other commissions, but we're going to be at the ribbon cutting for the Filipino town East Gate.
Oh.
And Ron Bonta is going to actually be in attendance, apparently.
That will be
and
nice.
Of course, and it's in Michoacano's council district, so of course he'll be there. And so basically, looking forward to a good month. And this month we're also going to repeat the mass casualty simulation event that we had last month with the medical students and nursing students, PA students, and pharmacy students from Charles Drew University and West Coast University, and there again, Captain Robert Hawkins actually has helped us in having Task Force 57 participate in that event.
Thank you, Dr. Hara, for representing the Fire Commission. You have been very busy for the last few weeks, I can hear, and that's great. Thank you so much for sharing all those events and occasions with us on the commission. Are there other commissioners who would like to comment?
Yes, this is Commissioner Babcock. How are you, President?
Oh, good morning, Commissioner Babcock.
Chief Crowley and Commissioner Hara and all my fellow other commissioners, hopefully, that are on as well. I know we don't always get on video, but good morning, and to all that are attending as well via phone or via Zoom. Just wanted to bring up a point regarding maybe a proposal based on implementing some technology in terms of commissioners receiving all of our board reports. It's been great to be getting those over the past 6 months, myself being on the board, as a UPS package and paper copy. However, was just wondering if we've ever considered going digital in the sense of commissioners being assigned an iPad and then the back end having those uploaded onto like a box.com or a Dropbox. I only say this because on my former commission that I served on, that's how we were able to do it. So I was able to see how well the technology worked. We could look back at agendas very easily from former reports from other times to reference in any case that we wanted. But just wanted to put that there. I'm not sure when those decisions are made, or I imagine that paper-wise and cost-wise, it does add up. So I would probably recommend that we at the very least, look at technology that could take us to the next level of getting a little bit more sophisticated in terms of receiving those board reports digitally. I know they get sent via email, but I think it's time to consider something like iPads or any type of devices similar that could allow us to function better as a board in that way. So that's just a recommendation for my part. Again, not sure how it works in terms of making those budgetary items, but that's my piece for today.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Burke, I see your picture.
Hi, good morning, everyone.
Good morning, welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone, from, I like that you called it the spring break. And I definitely want to echo the sentiments by our fellow commissioners on Chief Deputy Hogan's promotion. So now Chief Deputy Hogan's promotion to AOPS Chief. So your commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as innovation, it will be definitely well received in that position, and I wholeheartedly congratulate you on, and as well as Firefighter of the Year, joining the Hall of Fame, as Dr. Hara, Commissioner Hara had just mentioned. Well earned and deserved. I do want to comment and make sure that we're acknowledging the promotions and as well as the recruit class. And I look forward to seeing them out in the field and in their new positions. And I'm really excited in this new era. That's it.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Commissioner Ibarra. I see your picture.
Good morning. I just wanted to join in the congratulations to Chief Hogan. I think I already congratulated him, but if not, I just want to put it on the record. I mean, well deserved. We've known him for a really long time. I think he was one of the first chiefs that we met when we, 9.5 years ago almost. So it's good to see him rise in this department. And same thing for everybody else who's being promoted, and to see this department continue in its ascendancy. So congratulations to that. I just wanted to echo also, to the important events of this month, both for AAPI and for Jewish Americans. And I wanted to chime in on Commissioner Babcock's recommendation. I also know that the LAPD has a similar program where they give iPads to their commissioners, and it helps them track all of the items and also go back to prior items. I do like, however, the paper because I take notes on paper sometimes, so I like getting that, but I do like the convenience of having all the agendas and all the items together, and our history of items all together, and being able to reference stuff that happened before without actually, hunting for it or looking at any paper files that I kept. Thanks. That's all.
Okay, very good. Okay, thank you, Commissioners. All those are great comments. Thank you very much for your participation. The next item that we move to is item 2, and it's a report of the Fire Chief. Chief Crowley, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning to Madam President and the rest of the commissioners and all those that are here attending virtually. Just to share some of the variety of events that I attended from April 5th through May 2nd. The first was on April 6th. That was a really nice event that the foundation had put together. It was at Paramount Studios, and it was kind of a welcoming type of an event where I got to meet and greet a number of people. Fantastic event, and just always welcome to participate in any of the foundation events. They do such a fantastic job for us. On April 13th, I had a little lull in my calendar, so I thought I'd hit the road and decided to go to LA County and to the emergency room. And I just wanted to spend a little time with our firefighters on our 800 ambulances and our paramedics. I spent maybe an hour there and just discussed with the crew what was going on. I wanted to hear from them directly, and it was just a nice way to connect with our members that are out there doing their jobs and doing it very, very well. So I'm going to take every opportunity that I have just to get out there and make sure that our members hear directly from me and the rest of the command staff. And we really appreciate everything that they're doing and their professionalism. On April 14th, I did attend the Mayor's 2022 State of the City address. A lot of information was disseminated. This, as he stated, was his last State of the City address. A lot of the GMs were there, and it was good to participate and to represent the LAFD. On April 19th, I had the opportunity again to work with the foundation, and this was a fundraiser. It was called Howling Heroes, and I was a judge where we had the opportunity to participate and look at a number of, actually many canines that were online, and they were raising money for us. We did have one official winner, and his name was Big Rig. And he did raise over $4,000 for us, but all in all, the event did raise over $20,000 for the foundation. So I was happy to participate as a judge in that. April 21st, we talked about it, but what a fantastic day. It was a really amazing position, at least from my first time being part of this, is a graduation of our recruit class 21-3. We graduated 46 brand new probationary firefighters. It was a wonderful event. We did have it at Drill Tower 81. A lot of family and friends there. It was a wonderful day to celebrate all the hard work and dedication of the family, as well as our recruits that are hitting the field and are now assigned to their first houses or their fire stations for their probationary year. We also talked about Firefighter of the Year for Chief Hogan. Again, amazing event. I got to go to both of those events in the same day. Really feel good day. Chief Hogan, as you all know, well deserved, but of course, standing room only. Very well respected, and I'm ecstatic to have him as part of my command team. On April 28th, I did have the opportunity, and I was invited to participate in the LAPD Women's Symposium. They had about 600 plus female police officers from around the region, but mostly from the LAPD. I had an opportunity to address the large group in a ballroom, and just a fantastic partnership that we continue to have with LAPD, and I was honored to speak on the LAFD's behalf and to represent us, and just a wonderful, wonderful event. And lastly, that same day on April 28th, I had the opportunity to speak in front of our Budget and Finance Committee. As we know that the budget has come out, now we have the opportunity for potential add backs. I'm very happy with the budget, but there's always room to request additional information. So I felt really good about the budget hearings, and then we'll see after Wednesday, if there's any additional money that's going to be added to our budget. And a report.
Very good. Thank you, Chief. You've been very busy also. I thought the Howling Heroes was the cutest idea, and the winner was quite a dog.
Absolutely. That's big rig.
Wouldn't want to meet him in any place, the day or night. But it was I thought, just such a fun idea, fun thing to do. That was great idea. Okay, now we'll move on to item 3, which is a public comment period. Ms. Gomez.
I'm double checking, but I don't see any hands raised for that, Ms. Ma'am. Let me give it another second. Sometimes, there's definitely a delay for me, and nope. No public comments today.
No public comments today. Okay. That's kind of like old school, but that's good. I guess. I don't know. We'll move to item 4. And Ms. Wynn, are they Attorney Wynn? Yes. Are there any new bulletins or anything related to this issue from City Hall?
I do have some information. I just like to remind the board that the last determination was made on our first April meeting, which was April 5th. And so if the board would like to continue to do virtual meetings at the next meeting, which is May 17th, a determination needs to be made today. The City Council returns to in-person meetings tomorrow, Wednesday, May 4th. City Council committees have not returned in person yet, and with no date announced for their return. City Hall is open to the public on a limited basis. City Hall East, where our fire commission meetings are held, has not yet been opened to the public, back open to the public. The City Council guidance for boards and commissions is that they should remain virtual until the Civic Center is completely open to the public. That's guidance. The commission is still has the authority to make its own determinations, but that's the guidance that we're getting from the council. Other than the Board of Fire and Police Pension, which is doing hybrid meetings right now, I'm not aware of any other board or commission meeting in person. And those are the updates related to virtual meetings, and I can answer specific questions if anyone has any.
Just, I think following our last meeting, the mayor and city council issued a notice that they were starting to look at opening back up, but that they wanted all general managers to look for hybrid ways to develop a hybrid system for meetings, and no committees or commissions were going to be meeting.
Yes, I understand that there will be an announcement soon about the reopening of the Civic Center in general, but there has been nothing else beyond the press release that the mayor's office issued with regards to the city council returning to in-person meetings tomorrow.
And ahead of that one, well, I didn't see the one from yesterday, but they did mention.
I don't believe there was one yesterday.
Okay.
But
I know that they did mention, it was in the press release that the committees and commissions would not be meeting until they had the general managers look for a hybrid system for meeting. Yeah,
the guidance is that boards and commissions should remain virtual until they fine tune any hybrid meetings that should, if that's available or applicable to their body, and or until the Civic Center is completely open to the public.
Right. I know. That being said, commissioners, we're at item 4, and is there any discussion? Discussion on item 4. Is there a motion then to move ahead with the virtual meetings as we have had?
Yes, I make a motion to move item 4A for another, it's up to 30 days, so 30 days?
That's correct.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded that pursuant to Government Code Section 54953E1B-C and E3A and BI, that the board has determined that due to COVID-19 state of emergency, we continue to directly impact the ability of the members to meet safely in person. Ms. Gomez, would you do a roll call on that, please?
Yes, What's Gray?
Aye.
Babcock?
Yes.
Hara?
Aye.
Ibarra?
I'm going to abstain.
Ninberg?
Yes.
You have a motion carries. I'm sorry.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Gomez. Moving on to the consent agenda items, A, B, and C. Is there any discussion from commissioners on any of those items? If not, a motion is in order to approve, to receive and file, or to send to the mayor.
Make a motion to receive and file consent agenda items A through C.
Okay, so there's a motion to receive and file, and C is recommendations are transmitted to the mayor for approval. Okay, so we move A, B, and C on the consent agenda. Ms. Gomez.
We need a second.
Oh, did we get? Oh, we didn't get a second. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. It's been moved and seconded that we move A, B, and C on the consent agenda items.
What's Gray?
Aye.
Babcock?
Yes.
Hara?
Aye.
Ibarra?
Yes.
Ninberg?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Very good. We're now at item 6, the regular agenda items. First one is A, a report of the department providing geographic, gender, and ethnicity data on firefighter applications. And I see Chief Larson. Good morning.
Good morning, Madam President. Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners, Chief Crowley, Command Staff, City Attorney Wynn, and guests. My name is Christine Larson. I'm the Battalion Chief in charge of the Firefighter Recruitment Section, overseeing recruitment and youth programs for the LAFD. Commissioner Babcock a while ago requested a board report on the residency of candidates applying for the LAFD over the last 8 years. I would like to start by acknowledging Stephanie Gomez from the City Personnel Department for getting the data for this report. Since all firefighters are hired by the city, the data is kept by the Personnel Department. This report covers the last 3 hiring cycles, 2016, 2018, and 2020. I started by breaking down the hiring process itself because it has been a source of confusion for many candidates. Candidates applying to be a firefighter must meet the minimum qualifications, fill out an application, take and pass a written test to move forward to the interview. The interview is the only factor to determine your placement on the hiring list. On page 2, one issue that we continue to have is candidates applying for the position of firefighter and not taking the written exam, making them ineligible to be hired. The loss is about 50% of the candidates, and this continues through our current hiring process. On page 3, we get into the data about where candidates come from. Local qualifying applicants are those who reside within 300 miles of downtown Los Angeles. This information is given to us by the City Personnel Department. These are their rules. The majority of candidates applying for the LAFD fall into the local qualifying candidates. Only 11 to 13% come from outside of the state. Our LA City applicant percentage is less than our out-of-state applicants, so it's far lower than we would like. Attachment A on the board report is the percentage breakdown of candidates by ethnicity and gender for each exam period. For example, the goal for the 2020 exam was to have 10% female applicants, and we achieved that number. On attachment C, we highlight the total applicants by state. This illustrates that the LAFD name is well known and strong across the country. The most common out-of-state applicants are Arizona, New York, and Texas. Attachment D breaks down the California applicants by zip code in California and then by the city of Los Angeles itself. There were too many individual zip codes to put them in individuals, so we kind of grouped them together. There was a lot of data gathered. It's over 30,000 pieces of data that we had to gather to compile this report. I hope this clarifies the hiring process and where the candidates are coming from. And if you have any additional questions, I'm more than willing to answer them at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Ibarra.
Hi, thank you. So I have a couple of questions. You use the term qualified applicants, and so what does that mean exactly?
The qualified candidate is that candidate that meets the minimum qualifications, 18 years old, high school diploma, valid GED, fills out the application, and passes the written exam. Those are the qualified applicants.
Okay. So
we looked at the statement for our previous insurer and then AAA insurance.
I think there's somebody else on the who's unmuted right now. So I have a couple of observations about this, and I mean it tracks with your comments or your statements, but it seems like we're not. I would like to see us do better with LA City applicants for a lot of reasons. For one of the important reasons is because we obviously fund the department, and it's what the people of the city of Los Angeles would like to see. Right. And secondly, when you look at the data, it's obvious that we do better diversity-wise with just about every metric, including African Americans, Latinos, and female candidates with LA City qualified applicants. So, and we do remarkably less well as we go further and further from Los Angeles. And there's a lot of reasons perhaps for that. But particularly for Latinos, we go from, 42% for LA City residents, and then we go down to like 20% for those who are not from California. And it's just baffling too why for women that would also, because there's obviously like demographic differences between California and the rest of the United States, but it's kind of baffling why we would also have less qualified candidates for women. But so whatever it is that's in the water in Los Angeles, I think we want more of that, and we want to do, and so one of the things that I want to put out there is that perhaps we need to give some preferences to LA City residents. And I don't know how that works with the personnel process. I know that we give preferences to people who have military service, for example. Mm-hmm. So if we could do that for people who are LA City residents, I think that would be good. And then secondly, even if they were just LA County residents, I would consider that as well. But it shouldn't be as strong of a preference as for LA City residents. And so I would like to see a report back as to whether that's feasible. Whether it's legal, I think it is, but we obviously want to get an opinion from city attorney that we're allowed to do that, or give us some guidance on how we can do that. That's legal.
Right. The personnel department determines those boundaries. So the only preference that people get right now is active military who served within the last 5 years. The only advantage they get is 5 bonus points on their interview. So if they scored an 85 on their interview, it would give them a 90, which would essentially move them forward. I will say this too, our youth programs are part of our progressive pathway into the fire department, highlighting those LA City youth through our magnet high schools, girls camps, youth programs. Those have all been suspended. The cadet program is just going to come back as of May 4th. So hopefully that's going to give us more kids in the process that are local kids that will then have an opportunity to interact with the firefighters on a basis that will kind of provide them and guide them into a career in the fire service. So we're hoping that those programs that have been suspended since 2000, that will also bolster our group. And the other thing is, as far as out-of-state candidates, we have a lot of prep programs that we offer, but if you're not a local candidate, you can't take advantage of them. We have a CAP fitness training program. We have CPAP practice, and those are things that local candidates can take advantage. We do have people that drive all the way up from San Diego to take advantage of these programs. So we do know that the programs we have are effective. It's just if somebody's in Texas, they just can't take advantage of them.
Yeah, so what I would say about that is that it's probably very similar to what you get for like out-of-state applicants for colleges. There's certain schools, and the more notable, the more privileged the schools are, the higher percentage of out-of-state candidates they get. Mm-hmm. The out-of-state candidates and even out-of-the-country candidates that they get, and we're talking about places like Berkeley and UCLA, and like they get a lot of applicants and who are not from the local area, and the people that they get tend to have a lot of privilege. They have a lot of access to resources in their local areas, and they know that they want to go to Berkeley, and they do all these things to get to Berkeley, and good for them. But it also means that there's a huge debate right now in California as to whether that's fair to people from California. Mm-hmm. So I think that we probably have some of that. I mean, we get great applicants from out of state. We're always going to get them. We don't want to close the doors to them, but they tend to be people who have more privilege, probably come from a firefighter household, and their family, and they understand, how great it would be for them to be an LAFD, and they do everything they can for them. And we don't have that always we're a great metropolis. We have a huge population. We obviously have people here who could be firefighters, but probably don't have the same sort of background and same sort of privilege in the fire service. So I do think that we need to sort of work a little bit harder for that. And so for me, I would like to see us just explore that and see what it would look like if we could give them some bonus points.
Okay, I can certainly ask personnel. I will say that, one of the tenets of our hiring is that we require some of the least requirements of any department to get hired. And it is for those reasons. It's for the equitability of anybody that wants to apply for this job. That's why one of the things that we don't do is we do not require EMT and CPAT certification at time
Right.
of application.
Or
Because
paramedic license. Right.
these candidates have the opportunity to apply and get that later. So we've
Yeah.
tried to get rid of as many barriers to the process as possible. But we do have a good brand, and that serves us well when we're trying to get candidates from across the country. Right now, there's probably 70 departments in California that are hiring. Across the nation, there's a shortage of firefighters, so everybody is competing for the best qualified candidates. So I'm hoping that over the next 3 or 4 years, we're going to get some of the cream of the crop that will apply for the LAFD.
Thank you.
Yes.
Do we have any idea how many our youth cadet program people come into the program as firefighters?
I don't have that data for right in front of me, Madam President, but we do every class have either cadets or Crew 3 members that are always getting hired, usually as average is about 3 or 4 per class. And that's cadets from not only LA City, but LA County. They have a robust cadet program. So on a class-by-class basis, it varies, but it's usually somewhere between 3 and 5.
I would like to know if the magnet programs that we have are benefiting our department. The Wilson, the Dorsey, the different schools like that. If we could.
Those are newer programs, so I don't know, especially West Adams, it's only been going on for 3 years. We've really started to incorporate them in our cadet program at this particular point. So I'm not sure that we're going to see the fruits of the magnet kids for probably another maybe 2 to 4 years.
Oh, okay. I understand. I would also like to see youth program participants receive preferences of some kind also when they apply, because for the number of years that they've been in the youth program, maybe there will be some qualifications about how long they've been a part of the program. But I concur with the other commissioners on the preferences for city residency and county residency. So I hope that the city attorney will look into that with you and the personnel department and give us feedback on that. Okay, thank you very much. Let's see.
Commissioner Woods, great. I will say this, that, and I haven't specifically asked Chief Crowley this question, but Chief Terrazas was very adamant that people that had been in the youth programs, if they got through the background process, that he was putting them in the class. And that's why that we had that. So Crew 3, cadet program, Youth Fire Academy, Girls Camp, anybody that had come through some of our youth programs, he was moving them forward in the process. Just kind of an unwritten bonus.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds good. Commissioner Berg, I see your hand.
Oh, yeah. Hi, thank you so much for this report. I know it was a lot to compile, but I also think that this is really important data, and it's really informative. I definitely want to echo Commissioner Ibarra's statement in saying that the diversity numbers for LA City applicants are exactly what we're looking for, and in comparison to out of state, which is, you do have problems of cultural competency, and you see that, it doesn't really reflect the city, those numbers. So I am a little more apprehensive about out of state applicants. And I think, so the two things I want to mention, Commissioner Woods-Gray mentioned it. I would like to also see bonus points for youth programs, and also for city residents. The problem before was that people were just moving in and then applying. And if there's a way to, I don't know. So is there a way to establish residency for a certain number of years, where you get the bonus points? You just don't want to have people move in, get the bonus points, like that's what happened prior when there was this requirement. So is there a workaround there? Just something to explore. I'd like to see that as well.
Okay, I can tell you this. So LAFD puts their firefighter applications on government jobs. So if you subscribe to a firefighter notification, as soon as a new department opens hiring, you kind of get pinged to get it. Because our process is so lengthy, A candidate doesn't necessarily have to move here until they actually get their conditional job offer, find out that they're getting put into a class. So a lot of times that out-of-state candidate, because we're doing virtual interviews, they come for in person for their preliminary background investigation and baseline fitness test. They come in person for their medical, psych, and drug screening, and that's about it. So a candidate can do most of the stuff virtually before they ever get hired and just move here. So candidates that already live in the area, we used to have a residency requirement, but that residency requirement was during your application process and in your first year of probation. I cannot remember. It was in place when I came on, but I don't remember when we actually got rid of that. So that would be something that we would have to look at as an organization if that was something that was feasible, because we require a large applicant pool just to get the qualified people through the process. So doing other limitations might limit the overall number of candidates we have, and it actually might limit the diversity that we get. But I will check into that.
Okay. Chief Crowley?
Yes, I just wanted to take the opportunity. I have a breakdown from our last class that just graduated. That was class 21-3. And I just wanted to share with the group. We actually had 14 of the now probationary firefighters that were part of our recruit academy. 14 of them were part of our own LAFD cadet program. 2 of them were from LA County. 2 of them were explorers from other departments. And then specifically to our LAFD youth programs, we had 2 of our recruits that were part of our youth fire academies, 9, which is a great number, that were part of our LAFD crew 3. And we had 1 male and 1 female that were part of our girls camp. So just wanted to share that with the group. It seems like that pipeline's working. And now that we're moving out of COVID, it'll be a big push for us in our youth development program. They're working really hard to get all those programs up and running. It'll take a little time to bear the fruits of our labor per se, but we know the programs are working, so we'll continue to fund those and put our efforts into those. So just wanted to share those stats with everybody.
That's great.
Oh, thank you, Chief.
That is excellent.
Thank you. Commissioner Babcock, did you want to make a comment?
Yeah, I just want to thank Chief Larson and all the staff for putting this report together. I know I had requested it, and oftentimes we request things that sound like it's quote unquote easy, but I know it's not an easy task to get all of these numbers together and go through all the statistics, and just to even be having Chief Crawley and Chief Larson on this Zoom together as the leaders of the LAFD is exciting, and I know that those numbers will continue to do well. Again, I know those youth programs, I have one here in my backyard at Wilson High School. I look forward to continuing to see those grow and hopefully penetrate. I also was just curious, and I don't know that we have an answer, but given our local capacity for colleges, USC, UCLA, particularly among women, do we recruit NCAA athletes? How does LAFD go after some of those potential men and women that could be amazing in the fire service and then really recruit them back to stay in Los Angeles from those schools?
Sure. Yesterday we did a team building recruitment event here at Frank's for the basketball players and some of the other female athletes from LA Valley College. Last week I attended a UCLA in-person student athlete recruitment event. So a lot of the colleges are now requiring their student athletes to go through some student athlete training, like what are you going to do with your life kind of stuff. I've done a number of them at USC, UCLA. Because I'm alumni of UCLA, I kind of got advance notice, so I put my recruitment captain on it. And I did that. We have people in the organization, female that we have on probation right now. Carly Wopat was a pro beach volleyball player, Stanford grad. So when I'm sitting across the table from that other volleyball player at UCLA the other day, I got to highlight the fact that, hey, I have Carly Wopat on my team right now. Wow. So, being able to do that and have that in-person contact with student athletes has been huge. We're always looking for that right now. For the last 2 years, everything has been kind of shuttered. But as we start to open back up, we are 100% going after those female student athletes and the male student athletes too. Because we realize there is a nexus between being a student athlete and somewhat of a tactical athlete as a firefighter. They're trainable, they're coachable, they have the skill set to learn and be well in an unfamiliar environment, So we are totally trying to capitalize on that, as well as, getting our youth programs up and going as part of that, pipeline and strategic plan to get the youth of LA into this job. It's a great paying job for somebody that only has a high school diploma. So that's one of the things that we are trying to highlight. Wilson is one of my star magnet schools. I did a formal inspection with them the other day, and they were some impressive kids. So they have a great program there. All of our magnets are doing really, really well.
Excellent. Thank you, Chief. And just also, I know the other end of it is, once they become firefighters, the barrier to purchase homes in Los Angeles, the city of Los Angeles, is becoming more and more challenging. I make it my business to know only because I am a real estate broker, but the more we can encourage people to purchase and stay in the city of Los Angeles would be amazing, but I know oftentimes it is difficult. However, at some point they will be making really good money, right? So hopefully we can encourage them to also pay their property taxes here in the city in the way to be residents in the city of Los Angeles, even if they're New Yorkers or Texans at one point. I know, to encourage that in any way that we can. Not that you can force someone to purchase somewhere, but I think it's always good to maybe make them property owners in our own city, which would also be great. So,
that would be phenomenal, and I am one of the firefighters that actually lives in the city of Los Angeles. So there you go. I'm doing my part.
Yes, thank you for your
good.
taxes.
Thank
you again for all your hard work, Chief Larson. Appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And Chief Larson, do you also go to the Cal State?
Yes,
in the athletic program.
Yes, we've gotten contacts with all of the schools, and we also have contact through some of the fire science programs. So Cal State LA has a good fire science program. LA Valley College has a great fire science program. So we're trying to get them wherever we can find them. And so whether it's the athletes, Cal States, we're finding them and going after them.
And even down as far as Riverside, because Riverside, UC Riverside has a lot of female athletic programs that are strong down that way.
Yeah, we have some of our recruitment staff that lives out that way, so we kind of also try and make it convenient for them. Like, hey, there's this recruitment event, it's out by you. You go take care of it. So we've gone as far as like Cala Mesa and all that kind of stuff. So we'll go wherever we can go. The hardest inroad we have to make is with the military. The military events. The prices of those events have gone up astronomically.
Sure.
So the fire department doesn't have a budget for recruitment. That budget money comes from personnel department. And a recruitment event can be a few $100s or it can be a few $1,000s. So when we try to be very strategic about the events that we go to so that we can maximize the quality of the candidate that we're going to get.
Oh, that's interesting to know that they charge you.
Oh, yes. Sometimes they give us a quote unquote government rate, but that government rate is not what you would think it was. It's not free.
Okay. Oh, my goodness. Okay, Commissioner Ybarra, I see your hand. Thanks for raising your hand.
Thanks. So just one more comment just to follow up on my prior comment about giving preferences to LA City residents. Commissioner Nimberg talked about sort of devising a way that we're not, that people aren't just moving in. And so one of the things that we've talked about in the past is maybe setting like a benchmark, like perhaps, like if they went to high school in Los Angeles, and I don't mean just LAUSD, like if they went to a private school, if they went within the geographical limits of, LAUSD, but even if it's not an LAUSD school, like maybe they could get a preference because then that they're from Los Angeles, they went to school here. And usually where you go to high school is kind of the place that you think of yourself as being from, for a while. So that's one of I'm just thinking of different ways that we can do that so that it's not just somebody's going to move here to apply. So, but, just to follow up. Thanks.
Okay. Well, I can say that I'm that person that did that. I I went to school in Washington. I came down here to go to college, and I stayed. So,
Oh.
yeah.
But you went to college here, so that gave you stakeholders.
Yeah.
Okay, very good. Are there any other comments from the commissioners? Thank you, Chief, for the thorough report. And I know that you're working hard to recruit and find ways, especially during the COVID time. It's been very difficult. We have not been able to do the things that we were doing before. But thanks for continuing to find some way to reach out to the communities of interest. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Seeing no other comments, concerns, is there a motion to receive and file item A?
Motion to receive and file item A.
Is there a second?
Second.
So it's been moved and seconded to receive and file item A, BFC 22-036. Ms. Gomez?
Woods Gray,
Aye.
Babcock,
Yes.
Hara,
Aye.
Ibarra,
Yes.
Ninberg.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We move to item B. It's a report by the department providing paramedic vacancy projections as of March 29th, 2022. And good morning, sir.
Good morning, Madam President, Commissioners, Chief Crowley, Madam Deputy City Attorney, command staff, colleagues, members of the public. My name is Tyler Dixon. I'm an Assistant Chief for the Los Angeles City Fire Department assigned to the EMS Bureau. And before you, Commissioners, you have a recurring report that is the update on current and projected paramedic vacancies in field positions. When you're looking at the graph here, which I know you're familiar with from the past, this is updated on a monthly basis. And the projections are based on several sources of information, which includes an audit of our current vacancies. And then we include projections from the DROP program, members exiting DROP, projected members that are in a paramedic position in the field that are on a promotional list, and we project those associated generally with drill tower graduations and future promotions. We also look at recruits that are in the current training process that possess a paramedic license, that once they're complete with probation, we can send them through some additional training and then use their paramedic skills to their full abilities. And then we also project our paramedics, or our firefighters that we are sponsoring and sending through paramedic school at the UCLA paramedic program. And then occasionally we account for additional attrition out of those ranks. And as you see on your chart there, all the way through April 23, these are our projections that include all of those sections. However, after May of 2023, we don't have data available yet as to what type of recruit firefighters we will have that also possess a paramedic license. This is a plan that I know the fire chief and planning and the EMS Bureau, as well as the ops, look at on a very regular basis and strategize to ensure we're tracking our vacancies in the field and minimizing those at every opportunity. Welcome any questions or discussions from you, Commissioners.
Commissioners, are there any comments or questions for this? Commissioner Ninberg.
Hi. Thank you so much for providing this report. So I'm just looking at this, like, let's say, I know we don't have the recruit numbers for, May 23, February 24th. But if you estimate, let's say, just 25, 30, if you just look back across the other ones, we're still looking at some significant vacancies in 23 starting. I mean, look, it's not great, 72 vacancies, but when you start hitting mid 2023, it is a little bit disconcerting, and I'm worried about our paramedics, as they tend to be kind of, they're the ones going on all the calls. Burnout's really high. I don't know I don't know, the average tenure of a paramedic, and I'm sure it probably depends on what station they're in, but either way, they're the ones that go on the majority of the calls. So what is the plan in place? And I know this, Chief Crowley is the new chief, but what are the things we're looking at to kind of remedy this issue moving forward, especially now that we see what we're looking down?
Oh, thank you for the question, Madam Commissioner. Very astute and excellent. The command staff here is very keenly interested in this topic. And if you look at the chart, if you look at the gold bar and the blue bar, the gold bar represents vacancies of non-paramedics, paramedic positions, not necessarily people who have a paramedic license, but people that are filling that role as a paramedic position. And
Okay.
it's really it's a percentage of the overall vacancy. So this question kind of goes to the overall staffing of the organization. Roughly a third of our positions in the field are paramedic positions on any given day. And that's very similar to these numbers here that you see. But I know the fire chief's actively pursuing in our next fiscal year budget 300 recruit positions to be funded. And the overall staffing of the organization, the paramedic licensure portion of that is part of that overall strategy. We are actively pursuing sending current firefighter EMTs to paramedic school at UCLA Daniel Freeman. We have a standing contract with UCLA Daniel Freeman for 45 positions every year, spread out over 3 classes. We just graduated, as you'll see, designated on the April 2020 month. We just graduated 11 paramedics from that school, that training. We have a 90% success rate there. Part of that is attributed to our investment in sending our candidates to a paramedic preparation program prior to sending them to the very rapidly paced paramedic school. That is an excellent success rate overall for the school in general, when you account for people from other organizations or private students as well. And in fact, our people are doing so well. One of our firefighter EMTs, Jassy Hernandez, received the Sister Salazar Clinical Excellence Award for her performance in her didactic section, which is really the actual practice of paramedicine, not only from her technical skills, but also from her bedside manner and her ability to show compassion for her patients. So we're very pleased with that partnership with UCLA, and that's an excellent partnership to leverage and ensure we are filling every possible seat that we compete with other organizations to get those seats, but we have a well-established relationship with UCLA to ensure those 45 seats. And we have good news for the commission. We have very high level of interest from our members to attend paramedic school at this time. Mm-hmm. So our recruitment efforts are not very difficult. In fact, we have more interest there. So those are 2 of the tactics now. I believe you're going to be seeing the standards of cover update later. That is obviously our roadmap along with Chief Crowley's vision for us. And she has an excellent team here that are looking at other additional tactics as we move forward under her command.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I think, like I said, it is a lot of work. I know this combined with the standards of cover, making sure that we in the future are meeting the needs of the city and emergency needs of the city. And also making sure that, and I do appreciate Chief Crowley saying that her number one asset are the members and making sure that their health and welfare is paramount. So I know that this is a priority. I just think it's always really good to look at it, and I appreciate that. I mean, it's a lot of work, and I'm glad to hear that the class is filled up. There's not, you don't have to worry about that moving forward. And how many come in with paramedic licenses? It's not high, right?
Commissioner, excellent question. That number is really hard to predict. So we don't make a prediction. We actually take the recruits that are in the active pipeline and make that prediction. As you can see, it's as high as in February 23 of 17 recruits in that class that have a paramedic license. But to the earlier conversation about requirements in recruitment that you had with Chief Larson, there is no requirement even for an EMT or a paramedic license. So it is just that somebody that's in the recruitment process happens to have a paramedic license, and that may lead to their success in an interview. We find that our firefighter paramedics are doing excellent in their promotional exams. So I wouldn't it wouldn't be too far-fetched to say that they're doing well in their interviews as well. But they're not drastically high numbers, as you can see in this projection.
Yeah, I just going back to that other conversation too, might be interesting to see about giving that an additional weight as well as residency. So excellent. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am.
Very good. Thank you very much. Other commissioners with comments? I see a hand from someone. Who is that?
Chief Larson.
Chris Larson. Chief Larson.
I just wanted to comment on what Chief Dixon had said. If you read our hiring bulletin for the firefighter position, being a paramedic is the only thing that we will pick somebody up ahead of an EMT. So anytime we have the opportunity to make a class that has additional paramedics in it because they already have an existing paramedic cert, we can selectively pick them ahead of EMTs. So that's how we're always getting about, maybe as many as 10 or 13 recruits that already have paramedic licenses in a class. And it's written on the job bulletin. So when we do recruitment and people say, should I get fire academy or should I get a paramedic, we always steer them to paramedic because we know that even though it's an expensive program, it's $10,000 to $12,000. The payoff for that candidate is far greater when they're going through the hiring process, not just with us, but any department. Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Okay, very good.
So,
Commissioner Ibarra.
Thank you. So that would be just one of my concerns, is that it is quite expensive to get a paramedic's license. So if we give them preferences at the outset, I just feel like it's going to skew a certain direction, and I would be concerned about that. I do think that once you join the department, we should do everything that we can, and we do quite a lot to help them get a paramedic's license. But I do feel like there's sort of there's going to be a certain privilege that comes with having $12,000 that you can spend on getting a paramedic's license before you have a full-time job. So, and that's one of the things that we discussed when Chief Terrazas was still here. It does impact our diversity numbers. So just proceed with caution. We need to do everything that we can to increase the number of paramedics. And we do a lot, and maybe we can do more. But just at the outset, just the preferences that we're giving, I would be concerned about that.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Are there other comments from commissioners? Okay, seeing none, thank you for the report. It seems to answer all the questions that we wanted to have, gave us the right information. Thank you very much. And with that, is there a motion to receive and file item B?
Motion to receive and file item B.
Second.
Second.
So moved and seconded to file item B, FC 22-040. Ms. Gomez?
Woods Gray,
Aye.
Babcock,
Yes.
Hara,
Aye.
Ibarra,
Yes.
Ninberg.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Now we're on item C. Report of the department providing an overview of the Venice Fast Response Vehicle Pilot Program. Is that going to be our Chief Hogan? Good morning, Chief Hogan.
Good morning to you, ma'am, and good morning to all. And if I could just...
And congratulations again on all of your noteworthy recognitions.
Thank you so much, Madam President, and I do appreciate you sharing those sentiments today. I just would like to ask if the executive assistant could allow Captain Kevin Johnson access as well because he'll be assisting me with this presentation this morning.
Okay, Captain Johnson.
Yes, he's listed as KJ.
Yes, I did see him.
Okay,
Ms. Gomez?
He's ready to speak. I gave him access.
Thank you so much. He's going to put up, I have just a brief slide presentation to go along with my report so you all can have an idea of what we basically encountered during this pilot project. Excuse me. So Cap Johnson, if you can put that up, please, and share your screen. Thank you so much. Madam President, members of the Fire Commission, Chief Crowley, Deputy City Attorney Wynn, and to the management and staff of the LAFD. My name is Armando Hogan, and I serve as the Chief Deputy in charge of all LAFD administrative operations. My purpose here today is to share with you our most recent successes, challenges, and future forecasts for service regarding the Persons Experiencing Homeless, or PEH, pilot project that originated in Venice in CD 11. Assisting me today is Captain 1 Paramedic Kevin Johnson, who serves as the EMS Resilience Officer in Operations West Bureau. Captain Johnson created the program that we used during this pilot, and he is best to speak to that creation during this delivery. If you would change the slide, please, sir. The members whom you see depicted here are the backbone of this project. They are assigned as our tactical EMS staff, and they are basically a Swiss Army knife as it relates to services that they provide. They all have paramedic status and work hand in hand with LAPD SWAT during incidents such as barricaded suspects and active shooters. They work a 4-10 schedule, which begins roughly in between about 6 a.m. and 6:30 from Monday through Thursday during this pilot. During this particular 90-day period, we only encountered 3 fires, 1 cooking, 1 warming, and 1 which was criminal in nature, or PEH on PEH. In order for this program to be successful, it had to be based on 3 core values: to be a deterrent to fires in the PEH community, to educate the PEH community on the dangers of fires in close proximity to homes and businesses, and lastly, to assist those that were looking for assistance through social services that are available and that the city provided. Go ahead and change the slide, please, sir. These members were our ambassadors for the LAFD. They possessed the needed skill set of being educators and problem solvers, and you can see them there interacting with members on the boardwalk. Change slide, please. Once again, showing you the fact that before we can get them to change behavior, we had to educate them. So these folks were dedicated. They didn't go and have lunch or go back to a fire station. They literally stayed in the community for that 10 hours of service. So they walked the boardwalk, drove the boardwalk, went to different areas throughout Venice so that we can gather the most data to determine the best solutions for this challenging incident. And change slide, please, sir. Now I'd like to turn it over to Captain Kevin Johnson, who will share with you how the data was captured and collected. Captain Johnson.
Greetings, Madam President, Commissioners, Fire Chief Crowley, the LAFD, executive staff, members of the public. Also, I publicly congratulate Chief Hogan for Firefighter of the Year. It was an honor to be able to present for you, and I get off my soapbox. Moving forward, the purpose of this app was the need for right now data. This app was able to be put on all handheld devices, iPhones, iPads, even laptops. The mobile form allows our members to input data and collection as shown here. So here is what you would see on your phone. You have members 1 and members 2, and we're able to input this data. Here we have the size that determines that our FRV members, our fast response vehicle members, our TIMS members, which is our tactical, EMS, medical support staff members, who are educated and trained for backing up LAPD, for any type of a medical need. Also, anything from hospice negotiations. So they're very well versed and educated in how to deal with one-on-one with the community or those who are in stress. Here it shows each member, the input every day they ride, shows exactly who rides on that resource and how much percentage of the time. So here you have FRV number 1. It shows between May and August how often they rode. Here is for the second member who rides. So as you can see, example, 26% of the time we had Jason Jaskar who rode on in the second position on the FRB vehicle. Here on the app depicts information that's put on there on a data sheet. Location, comments, the date, time on scene, action, minutes, as an example. Here we're able to grab this data, put into a metric so we can see exactly the need and how effective our members have been. Here shows location. This is also an app. Via Marina and Via Dante, that's within the Venice community. Venice and Electric, closer to the boardwalk. Ocean Front Walk, actually on the boardwalk. As you also notice, during this time, it brought a lot of media attention. LA Sheriff got involved, and really was something that the local community, store owners, and also PH community really took advantage of and was able to access more resources. This next slide, in the ovals, you see May, June, and August. In the oval, the first number depicts the day of the week. The second number within the oval is the amount of contacts. As you see, some days there seem to be more contact than others. Some of that is based on how long they deal with the PEH community and different resources they used. They can have runs that took 3 or 4 hours or could take 15 minutes. All depends on the severity and the need for it. Also, you notice that on this same slide, it doesn't show every day of the month. Some of that's because of holidays, because of staffing issues. Also, the primary duties of our TIMS members, our FRB members, is to go on call-outs with barricade suspects with LAPD and because of staffing. So sometimes we weren't able to actually have them in seats every day of the month. But this kind of shows when they were there, how effective they were and what they got to deal with. In the upper left-hand corner, you see it says contacts. These are actually not incidents, but contacts. 280 contacts within this 90-day trial period is what they were able to do and definitely be a resource that helped out.
Mm-hmm.
This next slide is kind of small. See if I can make it a little bigger. I can't make it as big as I like to, but it talks about these are contacts, over 208 contacts. We have over photos, 300 photos. We're able to take photos and videos of the actions we've seen, and I'll show you some later on in the slide, where we can see what the need was, be able to show that and transpose it to other agencies, and even videos, and then go back and show that those things were either mitigated or gone or taken care of. As you see, just under 58% was in prevention. We had 0 fatalities during this period and during this deployment. On the very top, you see advise and educate, preventive measures, extinguish, referrals. So we had a lot of things that we're able to do with our members out there during this trial period. Okay, let me catch up here in my notes. Give me a second, sorry about that. Here you have contacts, comments on actions taken. And basically what we wanted to know is that not only contact, what did you do? So while they were there, they mentioned survey for ignition resources. They talked about people approaching them and helping out with the council districts or the local LASA, different people like that to help out with their needs and patrol the boardwalk. So really almost like a street walking entity to help out and really get involved with the community. And was able to capture that with this. This next slide is kind of obvious, but obviously it's minutes on scene. So as you see, 41% of the time we was there at least 30 minutes, 20% up to 120 minutes. So these always vary depending on severity of what was needed. It's real important so we know what it took staffing-wise. The model and matrix shown here kind of helps explain the rest of that. This other part of the app shows the 8 partner agencies that we dealt with or we was able to work with. LASA, UHRC, Recton Parks, EMD, LAPD, St. Joseph Mental Health, Council Office, etc. Dr. Cooley King, Dr. King as I call himself, was one of those persons, psychiatrists, and able to help right there on scene. People who had the mental health issue, which you know is very big in our community. We was also able to capture a partner agency contact name, their mobile number, and their email. So that way we can also have some type of referral to go back to and ask them how can they help us with this trend and how can they help us help the PEH community. Here's the percentage. And even though the percentage doesn't have everybody on here, it still is very, very important. Obviously, LAPD, 16% of the time, council officers are very, very involved with it. DOT was there to help us out. LASA, UHRC, DPH, and the Central team. We had contacts with all these agencies. This just shows during this 9-day period, we really leaned on, was able to help these contacts get the address to what's going on during this 9-day period. Last couple of videos, this is some of the things that we saw while we were out there. Hazards. We had tents. People experiencing homeless sit around our fire extinguisher. Obviously, it's not safe. It doesn't help anything. So I was able to talk through the process. Unfortunately, I don't have a video of this being cleaned up, but was able to talk to these residents and ask them about relocate and explain to them the importance of it. And they were very compliant. We didn't have any issues at all with that. But this is some things we discovered while being out there. And my last video here is what we had confiscated out of one of the tents. Obviously, there was a fuel is a hazard for a lot of different reasons. PEH or PEH crime is real popular out there, but knowing that we had to take away fuel that is a distinguished agent, also can cause some health risk to our members in the community, we had to confiscate that. So we were able to do that during this process. This is my last slide. I yield to Chief Hogan. Thank you.
Thank you, Cap Johnson. And with that, these individuals here are from St. Joseph's Mental Health Facility, and it gave us an opportunity. Every Friday during this period, Captain Johnson, Chief Zipperman, and myself would walk the actual locations where they were patrolling. And it gave us a better perspective on what was needed and, most importantly, what the issues are. Before I was going to have our FRV folks or our TIMS members going into these environments, we had to make sure that they were safe enough or that we gave them a path of travel where we knew that there would not be too many problems and we can bolster our relationships with the surrounding community. We really wanted to be a force multiplier by using as many of the other resources as we possibly could. Next slide, please. Here you see the security team from Google. Behind there, you can see this street is Rose, 3rd Avenue there on Rose, right? Just probably about 6 blocks or so from the boardwalk. And you see Gold's Gym there. A lot of times what we did was speak to the community folks, find out what the issues are, talk about the fact that there were no portable toilets in that area, talked about individuals who we could probably help and wanted to get out of that current situation. So it gave me an opportunity to meet them firsthand and give them our contact information. So when issues arose, they could call us direct for immediate assistance. Next slide, please. And as always, our partners with LAPD. Wanted to have a conversation with them and talk about what were the enforcement measures. One of the things that we took away from this was versus us coming up on any fire, particularly a cooking fire that we saw and putting that out, our FRV members were kind and patient enough to allow that individual to finish cooking. They stayed there and monitored it. And then from there, that individual got to eat. Because what we found previously is as we would put out those warming fires or not allow them to eat, the unintended consequences were they were going to go out and possibly do some type of crime, because we all know how we can be when we get hungry. So based on that, we learned to try to be a little bit more empathetic as to what was taking place in and around the community. Next slide, please. And then we also wanted to leverage media. While I was out there on Venice Beach, I would spend time, the local media came out. We wanted to raise the awareness throughout the respective communities. We wanted to make people aware, particularly the community, the business community, as well as the residences, as to what we were doing and how we can best help, for them to give us some ideas so that we can best address their needs. A lot of times I was challenged in community meetings or neighborhood council meetings as to what's the fire department doing? And I wanted to get away from that kick the can mentality of it's somebody else's issue. So we were able to get out there firsthand, talk with the businesses, look at those challenges, and then go through an extensive educational process. Next slide, please. And then we also had Chief Terrazas come out to see what we were doing. And he actually walked it with us. So we had a better understanding in terms of for the chief so that he can see, here's what our folks are against. Here's some of the additional resources we're going to need. And in order to sustain this program, this is what that is going to look like, or that blueprint that we attempted to create. So the chief was of great assistance. I also have to thank Chief Crowley because we piggybacked a lot of what they did when Chief Crowley was the fire marshal down on Skid Row. So we didn't want to have to reinvent the wheel. We wanted to take those best practices and apply them here. And we thought for the better part of this process, we were successful. Next slide, please. Thank you very much for your attentiveness. As you can see, we even have a dog on the team there for everything that we need. But I thank you all for the opportunity to share with you, and I'll take any questions that you may have at this time.
Very good. Thank you very much, Chief Hogan and Captain Johnson, for the very thorough report. I remember when that program first started, and looks like you guys accomplished a lot in 3 months. Is this program still going on?
Yes, ma'am. The program is taking place right now in Council District 4 with Councilmember Rahman. And basically what we're doing there is we took those practices from Venice, and now we're here in CD4. Next, we'll be moving to CD5 and then to CD11. So that way we've got a rotation. We're touching every council district, but most importantly, with the differences in the respective council districts, it allows us to give our folks the opportunity to work in a background with previous experience as we move forward. The biggest challenge that we found, though, is with the council offices, we really have now told them, here's what we need. When we encounter somebody on the street that says they want some assistance, how long should it take for that assistance to get there? So we really leaned on the council office saying, you've got to get either a social worker, a interventionist, or someone to be able to show up within 30 minutes. If not, our members lose credibility if we're trying to assist them in their endeavors and we don't have the support to be able to see it through.
So is that working?
It is working for the most part. There are some challenges. We asked for a point of contact in Council District 4. Councilmember Rahman has been gracious enough to give us that individual, and they're currently working with Captain Johnson as we speak.
Okay, very good. Very good. Commissioners, are there comments or questions? I'm looking for hands. Let me see. Do I see any hands? I don't see any hands. Okay, let's see. So, commissioners, there are no. Oh, I do see. Commissioner Ninberg.
I just want to say, Chief Hogan and Captain Johnson, thank you so much for this report. I love the presentation. I'm also excited about this. I know that we have, how many FRVs do we have now? 4?
Yeah, we have 1 per bureau now. Chief Poyer and working with Chief Terrazas, now with Chief Crowley, we're looking at how can we do this, but also we recognize we're going to need more because everything is based on council districts. For us, it's based on fire station districts or our respective battalions. So for example, in Hollywood alone, CD4 and CD13 are very interwoven. So of course the community doesn't care which district it's in, right? They just want it addressed. So what we end up having to do a lot of times is put our members in fire station districts. So while they are in CD4, they would patrol 82s, parts of 82s, not all of, but then 41s, 35s, 56s, because we know that those are CD4 responsibilities. So because of that, that's our challenge. And as we move forward, we're still talking with the Fire Foundation and then looking at alternative measures to get more resources out there. Because as many resources as we have, we really don't have the staffing to put bodies in the seats to try to see this through. So I think we're getting some momentum. Chief Crowley has been extremely supportive. So we're looking to see what those alternative measures are. And Chief Poyer and I have been working together to see what's the best plan to put out there so that it can be consistent and it can be sustained.
And also Chris, I could also interject. Remember, the primary job is going call outs with the PD. So that's the challenge part-time staffing also. They are truly ambassadors of the fire department in the community and showing what we can do. And it's shown, and they actually miss, and the people on business miss and enjoy them being out there. They feel safer because they're educating people in the area. And so the challenge is that they also have call-outs. So they get called out for a very suspect. They now are moved from that position or location. So it'd be nice to have more, as Chief Hogan actually mentioned.
Well, one of the things that we wanted to do with that, to Captain Johnson's point, is we want it to be enjoyable. If you're looking at a homeless situation every day, for most of us, that's probably not going to keep you in the best of spirits. So we want to allow them to keep up with their training, to maintain those skill sets that they've worked so hard for. But the bigger issue is I have to look at their peace of mind, right? Because when I walk out there, it can be very frustrating to see the same thing over and over again, or to correct the measure on a Tuesday and come back on a Thursday, and now it is, it's back in the same, plight that it was prior. So we understand that, and that was just something we did. Of course, their primary mission there was to do the PEH program, but we also wanted to make sure that they had that break away from constantly seeing some of the things that they were exposed to keep their spirits up. And like I said, they were just great throughout. They have the right skill set and they have the right fit for the challenges we face in the PEH pilot project.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you so much. This is, I know this is quite a task. And, when you say you're understaffed, that's like, that is beyond an understatement. So, to make this program, look, I love the initiative, and I love that this actually came from fire prevention, and now it's being implemented throughout the city, and probably will be a model, nationally, because that's what y'all do. But I support any additional resources, and if there's anything we can do, please let us know, because this is critical. Homelessness is obviously the number one issue facing Angelino. So thank you so much. And I hope that we can get you more resources, more FRVs, and really kind of hit this head on. So thank you.
And thank you. And the beauty of it too is they can do, as I mentioned, that Swiss Army knife model for high hazard days where we're pre-deploying. They could be our eyes out there for patrols. Right. In addition to that, they can do a rapid intervention very quickly as it relates to small fires before they get bigger. Right. Those vehicles are 4-wheel drive, so they can go off-road into those inaccessible areas. Mm-hmm. So there's so many things that they can do. It's just not one thing. These individuals are so talented. There's water on the FRVs. So because of all of that, they have hose. So we have the ability to be able to do more with less, so to speak. So we really want to take advantage of that opportunity.
Excellent. I'm excited about it, and I look forward to seeing this expand and for you to be fully resourced. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It seems as if I noticed that the fires that were a problem in the Venice area decreased or went away. So that proved that I saw that was working, because when you first originally started, there were a lot of fires being set in the Venice area.
One of the things that we did find from that, even though like I said, we only had 3 total during that time, there were still fires in the evening, but mostly from warming fires. However, because folks got to eat during the day, at nighttime, we didn't have as many people on edge. So because of that, so we were working with the local community to see if we could get a place that individuals can come and eat, not, with a soup kitchen type model where they'd have a place to go where they can dine. Because what happens after they eat, then all of those remnants stay on the street. So we've cured one issue, but potentially we're creating another one. So we're looking at and working with sanitation and those other folks, what can we do to make this cleaner, and if we can get everybody to go to one location. So those are a number of the challenges that we were facing.
Very good. Sounds like a wonderful program. Any other commissioners with comments or concerns, questions? Commissioner Ibarra.
Thank you for the report. It's such an intractable problem, and you're doing the best you can with this. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Very welcome. Thank you.
Other commissioners? Okay, seeing no other commissioners wanting to make comments or questions, Chief Hogan and Captain Johnson, thank you very much for the work that you're doing there. I hope it continues, and that, because as you are aware, the homeless unhoused issue is the biggest issue we have in our city today. And it's creating lots of issues for lots of other people. And so whatever you can do to help with, we appreciate that. And we're glad that you've been creative and come up with this model and tried to replicate some of the other best practices that were going on, which is really great too. So thank you very much. And we look forward to future reports showing the successes of this program, and perhaps in some other areas.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Okay. Is there a motion to receive and file the report on item C?
So moved.
Okay. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. It's been moved and second that we receive and file item BFC 22-041. Ms. Gomez?
What's great?
Aye.
Babcock?
Yes.
Hara?
Aye.
Ibarra?
Yes.
And Lindberg.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you very much. We'll move on to item D, the department's report on the status of the standards of cover.
There I am. Good morning, Madam Commissioner, honorable board members, and distinguished
Good morning.
guests. My name is David Perez. I am the battalion chief in charge of the planning section here at the fire department and the program manager for the standards of cover study. This written report is a follow-up that was requested after the verbal report I gave to you all during the November 1st meeting. I'll just go through it really quickly for you. We, as you know, contracted with Citygate Associates to conduct a standards of cover study and create the report. Standards of cover looks at the location and the concentration of resources, meaning where are our resources housed, what fire station locations, where they are, and how many resources are there, and how close together those stations are. It also looks at workload. It looks not only at the total number of incidents a resource may be responding to, but also its total hours, emergency hours worked. It's a concept that is called unit hour utilization, and it factors in very heavily in determining where we might need to put additional resources in the future. It also considers trends in population growth and demographic shifts, as well as risk factors involving the city of LA. What comes out of this report when it's done, and the benefit to the city, is that it'll provide command staff here at the department, as well as the city's elected officials, with a data-driven, independently verified study that makes recommendations and suggestions as to how we can move forward to better meet the needs of the city in terms of acquiring new resources, new types of resources, and where those resources would be eventually deployed to. Throughout the 18 months, or actually now 20 months leading up to this report, we've been providing Citygate with a wide variety of information from various different city departments. The list is there on your report, too numerous for me to read through line by line. And we continue to provide some follow-up information as they're asking for that. Right now, they're in the analysis phase, and they're actually almost finished with the analysis phase of the data they've been looking at. They gave us about 5 weeks ago, they met with command staff and gave us a preliminary draft review, actually a pre-draft review of what they're coming up with. And the purpose of that pre-draft review is really just to make sure that they're on the right track, that the data they're seeing and their analysis of it isn't, that they haven't made a mistake somewhere and they've gone off on a totally far away tangent. And so they went through that. It was, there's a lot of information. Of course, it's preliminary and not intended to be shared publicly at this point. But we did have a couple of issues, mostly regarding their reporting methodology. that we're working through with them right now, and hope to have that fixed. It has nothing to do with the outputs. It's just how the manner in which those outputs are displayed. And then from there, we're continuing to work closely with them here at the planning section, helping them reach out to other city departments or offices that may need to provide additional input. And the fire stat section is also working very closely with them now to make sure that the data and that we're seeing the data the same way that they are. There were some questions that Your Honorable Board asked during the meeting in November. And amongst those were the status of the air operations section, arson unit, and the Fire Prevention Bureau in terms of whether or not we could include them in the standards of cover study. It turns out that we cannot for a couple of different reasons. One is they were never included in the original RFP or the contract, so that would have required a reopening of that and also potential delay. And then also, too, there are no real standards. There's no best practice to determine what a workload is for a fire prevention inspector or a helicopter dispatch or an arson investigator. Not to say that those couldn't be created internally and standard devised, but that would be outside the scope of work that we gave to Citygate and outside of the scope of this report. So that concludes my my summary of the board report presented to you, and I'm happy to take any questions you might have.
Okay, commissioners? Commissioner Ninberg?
Thank you so much for this report. I greatly appreciate it. So I know that you're dealing with the methodology and trying to work that out. Is there any estimate on the time this is going to be completed?
Right now, we're on track to have it completed by the end of this fiscal year. So we're still holding with that deadline in mind.
So June?
Yes, ma'am.
Great, June 30th. That's fantastic. Yeah, and I do understand, you know, the issue of it not being included in the RFP, and that, I mean, that makes sense to me. I do think, though, that it would be good for us. You did mention something about like an internal audit of what the requirements are, what the hours are needed to complete each task, you know, the incoming issues, the incoming incidents versus staffing and whatnot. I think that would be something that we should look into as well and make sure that that we are not missing out. I mean, Fire Prevention Bureau is a large portion of what we do, and also they have been able to mitigate, you know, our actual structure fires, you know, which has allowed us to focus more on medical and whatnot. So I just think that is something that we should look at, doing an audit on those three, just to make sure that we're not leaving them out, because I do know that there's some staffing issues there. Although Air Ops, I don't know too much about, but so even that would be interesting information. Yeah, so that's just something I think I would recommend, looking at kind of the feasibility of that and what exactly it is, the baseline that you're looking at, what you're trying to achieve, just to make sure that the health and well-being of our members is, like I said, paramount. So do we have the resources, and are there ways, you know, to mitigate and whatnot? So I think that it'd be really important.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Are there other commissioners? You know, I would concur with Commissioner Ninberg on the fire prevention and the arson department. We need to find some way to study those departments, because they are really key departments as part of the fire department. We really do need to look at that. When did we start the study? We
contracted with Citygate on July of 2020. 2020.
July of 2020.
It's been about 20 months now.
Okay, because I know we started talking about this when we first came on the commission, like almost 9 years ago.
Yes, ma'am.
I was just trying to figure that out. It's been a while getting to this point, but at least it seems like we're going to get there. I had concerns because some of the people they interviewed, everybody's changed jobs. Are the interviews still valid?
Most of these interviews occurred within the last probably 3 to 4 months. Typically, they get most of their data first. They do the deep dive into it and do most of the analysis, and then they talk to the others to make sure that what they're seeing and that they're analyzing the data or looking at it in the same way and making sure that the input of those people that they interviewed is included. So it hasn't been that long. These interviews didn't start at the beginning of the process. They started more recently. So I do believe that they're valid. And, I don't know that there would be time to go back in cases where some of these people have perhaps changed positions to go back and re-interview now. I don't know what that would do to their process.
Okay. Commissioners, are there other concerns, comments, or questions? I'm looking for, hands. Let's see. Do I see any hands? I don't see any hands. Okay. Commissioner Ibarra?
Yes. So I just want to thank you for the report. I know that we've been talking about a standards to cover report for a decade now. And so to finally see that it's underway, that we're going to have a report is just really exciting, that this is finally going to happen. I see that Freddie Escobar is not here, but for a long time, sort of part of one of the impediments was the union, because they didn't want to see this happen. So it took a long time of talking to the union and having conversations about what this was going to mean to get them to sort of come on board. And so I just, I'm super excited that this has finally happened, and excited that it was a collaboration and of persuading everybody that this was in the best interest of the department and that we could all get on board with this. So I'm just excited. Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, it is good to finally going to have a report coming. I can agree with you, Commissioner Ibarra. Are there other comments or concerns? Okay, very good. It seems like Chief Perez, you've done an outstanding job, and there are no more comments or questions or concerns.
Thank you
very much for your report, and we look forward to getting the completed project. Did I hear someone say they had a comment? Was someone trying to be recognized? Oh, I don't know. I thought I heard someone. Is there a motion to receive and file the report in item D?
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we receive item D, BFC 22-042. Ms. Gomez?
Woods Gray?
Aye.
Babcock?
Yes.
Hara? Hara?
Aye.
Ibarra?
Yes.
And Ninberg?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Now I know what the other sound I heard was. That's our little new baby.
He wants to be recognized.
Oh, he wants to be recognized. Hello there. Oh, how beautiful. Oh, and he's growing too, huh? Fast.
Oh, yeah. 15 weeks today. I was going to introduce him at the end, but here he is.
I heard the sounds. I kept hearing sounds. I'm going, is someone trying to be recognized? Hello there. What is his name again?
Declan.
Declan.
Yeah, Declan. It's an Irish name.
Declan. Hello, Declan. It's nice to see you. Welcome. Okay, very good. Now I know what. Let's move on to item. Thank you, Ms. Gomez. Let's move on to item E. The verbal report by the department on the Los Angeles Fire Department's racial equity plan. I guess that is Chief Gutierrez.
Good morning, Madam President.
Good morning.
Vice President, Commissioners, Fire Chief Crowley, City Attorney Nguyen, all LAFD members, command staff, and the public. My name is Stephen Gutierrez. I'm a Deputy Chief in charge of our Training and Support Bureau. And this morning, as directed by the Board of Fire Commissioners, I'm providing a verbal update on the LAFD's Racial Equity Action Plan. In accordance with the City of Los Angeles Racial Equity Vision, the LAFD has established a Racial Equity Action Plan, which at its core is to ensure racial equity by focusing and providing equitable opportunities which align with the three core missions that the city founded. That is within our city workforce, city operations, and city services. Transparency, equitability, and the ability to measure outcomes are critical of our action plan success. For this reason, we have established 15 goals with 3 missions. The LAFD's plan is organized by missions, objectives, goals, key contacts, launch dates, target completion, relevant metrics, status updates, challenges, and any modifications. I'd like to give updates on 5 of the 15 goals this morning because we have made some progress, and this is dated from February 27th of this year, the 22nd, 2022. On goal number 1.2, which is a formalized mentorship program, we have implemented the Probationary Firefighters Mentorship Program, which is a PMP. We've also implemented a formal BC or Battalion Chief Mentorship Program. We've also expanded our Quality Assurance Unit by adding an additional Captain 1, which is a female paramedic Captain 1, to extend our current membership beyond probation members to extend career management and mobility. Additionally, we're currently developing a formalized promotional mentorship program for members during their promotion period. The mentorship program would have an emphasis on succession planning and career development for incumbent firefighters to promote through the ranks. The next one I'll provide an update is 1.5, which is our hiring background. We continue to collaborate with the personnel department to hire new background investigators to ensure diversity in the process. To date, we currently utilize LAFD sworn captains from our Quality Assurance Unit to assist firefighter candidates in the background process and administrative duties. Current collaboration process has been successful as we've increased the number and the amount of backgrounds processed, and we're currently seeking additional captains to reinstitute our firefighter selection unit, which will assist that hiring process. That's significantly important because we want to bring that diversification lens within the background process that we feel is warranted. On goal number 2.2, which is under equitable operations, implementation of the organizational study. As we know, the Deloitte LLP has completed the study with providing 24 recommendations. That was as of February of 2022. It was presented to the Board of Fire Commissioners this March 15th of 2022, and we're currently looking and establishing our Work Environment Committee and to expand that to an advisory committee, which all stakeholders participate in developing and expanding the advisory board to assist in the implementation of the Deloitte recommendations. As of just yesterday, I met with our Chief Deputy Hogan to go over this and implement this along with Chief Crowley, and this will take place this month. On 2.2, this is the culture and staffing, 2.4, commission meeting. This would also include our third update. As the commission's aware, the first update I provided was in September of 2021. Our second was March of this year, and this being the third, May 3rd, 2022. Going back to 2.2, I apologize. This is under staffing capacity and training. Again, we are looking and we've identified a member within our quality assurance that's continued research and development in the DEI or Equity Bureau that we hope to institute later this fiscal year as we seeking staffing and budget request that has passed through, and we're looking to do some additional add backs with that. And then finally is our racial equity action team. As I mentioned previously, reestablishing our Work Environment Committee and bringing it back and expanding that committee, which will list to be a subcommittee to provide that racial equity action team along with all stakeholders to see. And we're looking to do that, and I mentioned that a while back in a previous commission meeting, was to expand that to more of an advisory board where we open it up to outside institutions as well as the public to have a seat to help us bring transparency and consistency and accountability as we go to move to implement 24 of the recommendations that were provided by the Deloitte. The department continues to collaborate involving all LAFD stakeholders to ensure that the information about existing equity initiatives to increase racial equity, lessons learned, and impacts of the department and committee are well served. And in conclusion, the LAFD continues to support the City of Los Angeles racial equity vision and goals. To that end, the LAFD Racial Equity Action Plan provides the methods and goals for the department to achieve the City of Los Angeles racial equity vision and goals. That concludes my report, my update, and I will now make myself available for any questions.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Chief Gutierrez. Commissioners, are there comments, concerns, or questions? Commissioner Ninberg.
Hi, thank you, Chief Gutierrez, for the verbal report. Questions, what are the add backs you're looking at getting?
We're just going through, and Chief Crowley can address that better, but we're looking at our budget and possibly getting some additional staff, and particularly in our fire recruitment selection unit, our section, and also specifically in the firefighter selection unit. And that would kind of bolster the staffing that we're currently detailing over to assist the personnel department in the backgrounds. So one of the key questions we're asked is, how can we bolster our recruitment of both female firefighter candidates and candidates of color? And it's really moving them through the process. Our philosophical change is really emphasis on retention in our processes, both in our recruitment efforts, in our hiring practices, and of course in our drill towers. So additional staffing would allow that and free up those quality assurance members to kind of go back to even assisting some of the quality assurance pieces as well. So there's some other things in and along that, but that's one of the key things I'm looking at from TSP specifically.
Okay, excellent. And that's how many staff members is that?
I think, and I'd have to look at it for specifics. I believe it's 5. I believe it's 5 captain ones.
Yeah. Okay. All right. That's good to know.
And looking at hiring new people to do background investigations, are you looking at also relieving from duty the people who've been on 5 years or more? Some of the investigators who've been there for a while.
Well, so personnel department actually really oversees the background process, ma'am. We have stepped in to assist, and we felt it's important because we bring a uniform presence, and we also bring transparency and diversity into the process. So we're working heavy on the collaboration piece, but we want to start actually doing more. I work and I meet with personnel department twice a month, and we start looking at other things we can do to assist and actually start to expedite and bring the efficiency up in that background process. So, and looking at one of the commission's ask was about a year ago was to look at diversification in that background process, and that's what we're looking to do by utilizing our uniform members to assist. Now, we won't take it over completely. We'll take more of a shared responsibility with them.
Chief Crowley.
Yes, if I may add, I just wanted to share what did make it into the proposed budget at this point, and I was very happy to see this. I know that we really tried to push hard for this, was the diversity, equity, inclusion piece and actually having new funded positions. So we did receive 9 months of funding, so that will mean that we'll be able to start to staff our DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion, within October. So, and that will be 1 battalion chief, 1 management analyst, and 1 personnel analyst. We have 6 months of funding coming in, which would then allow us to hire additional staffing, both sworn and civilian, in January. And that's where we'll even be able to add additional higher level capacity with an assistant chief, 2 captain 1s, and 1 equity officer, and that member is poised to be a civilian subject matter expert, which the way that we see it from our lens is to ensure that we're collaborating very closely with Chief Gutierrez and his game plan and our game plan when it comes to gender equity as well as inclusion across the board. So this is going to be a great jumping off point for us, and we'll start to utilize that staff to help us with our roadmaps and our benchmarks. And we'll have to share the staff, at least in the beginning, and figure out where we can best utilize that. But I was very happy to see that that's in the proposed budget, and we're going to move forward very strategically with how we can utilize this new staff.
That's great. Yes.
So in hiring the new staff, to set up that bureau, you will be going through personnel. There'll be notices going out that there are job openings for each position, and someone will apply.
Yes, that is correct. So we'll do, especially on the civilian side, we'll be very thoughtful about working with city personnel. They usually help us with our recruitment efforts to find those subject matter experts. Obviously, we follow along with how we do it internally, but the good news is we are institutionalizing and start to look at everything that we do with policies, procedures, and practices with an equity lens across the board. So that's the game plan, is to utilize this staffing, and that will be just part of who we are and how we do business within the LAFD moving forward, to build a very strong foundation so that this is just part of how we do things from here on out.
Very good. Very good. Commissioners, are there other concerns, comments, or questions for Chief Gutierrez?
I just want to thank
Commissioner Ibarra.
I just want to thank him for all the work on this and for keeping us updated. I find it really informative. Thanks.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Other comments or concerns from commissioners? Okay, seeing none, then this is a verbal report. There's no need for action on it. And we want to thank you, Chief Gutierrez, and continue the good work and keeping us informed as we go along, establishing our new bureau and carrying out the plans from the Deloitte study. I'm going to talk to you offline about the background investigators.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, let's see. Okay. Then we'll move on to item F. Thank you very much, Chief. Move on to item F. That's a verbal update on the Department of the COVID vaccination non-compliance process. That's Chief Everett.
Morning, Madam President, fellow commissioners, Linda, Leticia. I'm Graham Everett, Deputy Chief, and I serve as the Chief of Staff.
Good morning.
Good morning. So today's numbers, just to update you on our vaccine status department-wide and the non-compliance numbers. As you know, we have a total of 3,761 department employees. Of that number, 3,247 are fully vaccinated. That's a percentage of just over 86%. We also have 51 members that are new to the department that are too new to have a record established. So there are some numbers there. I'm confident that will be updated in the next meeting. At this time, we have 341 exemptions for members that are not fully vaccinated. 29 of those are medically related. 295 of those are religious related, and 17 are requested for both medical and religious reasons. Of the we had 392 members served with a notice to comply, with a 48-hour notice to comply. Of that number, 151 became compliant before being placed off duty. 241 were placed off duty. Of the 241, 209 have become compliant and returned to duty. 13 have resigned or retired. 1 has been discharged, and 18 remain on unpaid administrative leave. Our current numbers for members with the infection, we have 8 members isolating at home with an active case of COVID. 10 members are unable to return to duty due to a post-infection issue that they're working through. And 1 member is unable to return to duty, but is working in a light duty capacity, so not returning to full duty. So those are the numbers for today, and happy to entertain any questions that you may have.
Okay, thank you very much, Chief Gutierrez. Chief Graham Everett, it looks like if things are really improving within the department, so that's really good. And with the people, the new firefighters, they all come with vaccinate. They're vaccinated, right?
Yes, ma'am. It's just the updating the system as they go through the drill tower. There's some lag time.
Do they get boosters also? Is that considered fully vaccinated?
The booster requirement has not been updated to us. So right now the vaccine is the mandate.
Is the mandate, okay. Okay, thanks. Commissioner Ninver?
Yes, hi. Thank you, Chief Everett, for this report. It does seem like the numbers are improving a little bit there. Where are we at with the processing of exemptions?
So the majority of our exemption requests have been forwarded to the Personnel Department. We are getting some results back from the Personnel Department. They're getting sent back over. We will be processing those as we receive them. They're trickling in. We're not getting them all back at once. And we really don't know the process that they're using in terms of if there's a prioritization of departments or not. It doesn't appear to be, but we are getting some of those report backs from the Personnel Department.
And are they sustaining them? What is it looking like?
My understanding is the majority of the ones that we're getting back have been denials, but I can't really speak to all of them.
Okay. And then the process then becomes either get vaccinated, comply, or border rights?
So the members would have the opportunity, let's say a member was denied their exemption request from the Personnel Department, the members would have the opportunity to submit an appeal, and that appeal would go back to the general managers of the department, so in our case, the fire chief. Once that process is completed, if there's an approval of that appeal, then there would be a reasonable accommodation conversation to be had. If it was denied at that point, the member would have the opportunity to become vaccinated and become compliant. If the member decided not to comply, then yes, we would process that member through a separation process.
Okay. All right. Excellent. And you said how many have you gotten back so far out of the 341?
My understanding is we have about 100 back so far.
Oh, like a third.
Yeah, so we're getting some back, but they don't come all at once. They kind of trickle in.
Okay. All right. Interesting. And how many have appealed?
We haven't processed the notifications yet. We just got them in.
Okay.
So at this time, I'm not aware of any appeals. But I think that's because nobody's been notified yet.
Okay. All right. When do you expect them to go out?
Well, once the members are notified of their status, they'll have 5 business days to file their appeal. So, I'm guessing in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some of those on the table.
Okay. Excellent. I look forward to seeing those. Now that we're getting those back, getting the reports on them and seeing how the progress is going on that. So I appreciate the updates. It's really important. And thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
And sorry to hear 10 people that are suffering with complications due to COVID.
Yeah. Are there other concerns, questions for the chief? Okay, thank you, Chief. I think you've done a great job. We're complete with your report. Thank you very much. We look forward to seeing you at the next meeting.
Thank you, ma'am.
And we will, that's the end of our agenda. Is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn our meeting. Ms. Gomez?
Pardon me. Woods Gray?
Aye.
Babcock?
Yes.
Hara?
Aye.
Ibarra?
Yes.
And Ninberg?
Yes.
Motion carries. Meeting adjourned.